Good morning, children. Welcome to the second session of lesson number 1, real numbers. In first session, you have learned Euclid's lemma and Euclid's division algorithm, and you are using Euclid's division algorithm to find the HCF of two given numbers. In the previous class, we have learned what is a real number. Real numbers are collection of irrational numbers and rational numbers. And you have studied about irrational numbers in 9th standard. So you can just recall that. A number S is called irrational if it cannot be written in the form P upon Q, where P and Q are integers and Q not equal to 0. You can make it more clear by the examples. The square root of all the prime numbers that are irrational. For example, root 2, root 3, root 5 and the value of pi. Pi is an irrational number. Then minus root 2 upon root 5. When comes into the decimal form of an irrational number, the decimal form of an irrational number is non-terminating, non-repeating decimals. Then moving to rational number, a number of the form P upon Q where P and Q are coprime integers and Q not equal to 0 is called a rational number. Coprime means the two numbers are not having any common factor other than 1. For example, all the integers, that is minus 2, 8, 0, root 4. Why root 4 is rational? Root 4 can be written as 2. Then coming into the decimal form of rational numbers, the rational numbers are having the decimal form. It may be a terminating decimal or non-terminating recurring decimals. These are rational numbers. For example, 0.5, that is a terminating decimal, it is a rational number, and 0.2323 etc. That means it is non-terminating but repeating. Moving to theorem 1.3, let P be a prime number. If P divides A square, then P divides A, where A is a positive integer. This is an important theorem that you are using in proving irrational numbers. Moving to theorem 1.4, that you have to prove root 2 is irrational. For the proof, you have to assume to the contrary that root 2 is rational. That is, we can find integers a and b not equal to 0 and assume that a and b are coprime. So you can write root 2 equal to a upon b. By doing the cross multiplication, you will get b root 2 equal to a. On squaring on both sides, you will get 2b square equal to a square. Therefore, a square is divisible by 2, that is, a is divisible by 2. This is by theorem 1.3. So, we can take a equal to 2c for some integer c, and you can substitute the value of a in the equation 2b square equal to a square. So you will get 2b square equal to 4c square. 2 is common in both, so you will get it as b square equal to 2c square. That is 2 divides b square, and so 2 divides b, same as by theorem 1.3. Therefore, a and b have at least 2 as a common factor. But this contradicts the facts that a and b have no common factors other than 1. That is why we have taken root 2 as rational. This contradicts our assumption that root 2 is rational. So we conclude that root 2 is irrational. Moving to exercise 1.3, question number 2, prove that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. So proving this, let us assume to the contrary that 3 plus 2 root 5 is rational. So we can find two coprime integers a and b not equal to 0, such that 3 plus 2 root 5 equal to a upon b. That is a rational number. Now taking 3 to the RHS, you can write 2 root 5 equal to a upon b minus 3. Therefore, root 5 equal to a minus 3b upon 2b. Since a and b are integers, we get a minus 3b upon 2b is rational, and so root 5 is rational. But this contradicts the fact that root 5 is irrational. That is, our assumption is incorrect. So we conclude that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. Question number 3. Prove that the following are irrational. In that, question number 1, 1 upon root 2. So you have to prove 1 upon root 2 is irrational. So we are assuming to the contrary that 1 upon root 2 is a rational number. If it is a rational number, you can find two coprime numbers, that is a and b, where b not equal to 0. That is 1 upon root 2, a rational number, equal to a upon b. Then by taking the reciprocal, you will get root 2 equal to b upon a. Since a and b are integers, b upon a is a rational number. So root 2 is a rational number. But this contradicts the fact that root 2 is irrational. So we conclude that 1 upon root 2 is irrational. Moving to question number 2, 7 root 5. So same as the previous one, you assume to the contrary that 7 root 5 is rational. So you can find two coprime integers a and b not equal to 0. Then you can write 7 root 5. Since we have taken it as a rational number, you can write it as 7 root 5 equal to a upon b. From that, you can write root 5 equal to a upon 7b. Since a and b are integers, a upon 7b is a rational number. So root 5 is rational. But this contradicts the fact that root 5 is irrational. So we conclude that 7 root 5 is irrational. Rational numbers and their decimal expansion. That is, seeing the decimal expansion, you can clearly say whether it is a rational number or irrational number. Let x be a rational number whose decimal expansion terminates, then we can express x in the form p upon q, where p and q are coprime and the prime factorization of q is of the form 2 raised to n 5 raised to m, where n and m are non-negative integers. Then if x equal to p by q be a rational number such that the prime factorization of q is of the form 2 raised to n 5 raised to m, where n, m are non-negative integers, then x has a decimal expansion which terminates. So from these 2 points, it is clear that if a decimal expansion terminates, then it is a rational number, or otherwise if it is given in p by q form and the denominator q, its factorization can be written in the form 2 raised to n 5 raised to m, then it is a rational number. Let x equal to p by q be a rational number such that the prime factorization of q is not of the form 2 raised to n 5 raised to m, where n, m are non-negative integers, then x has a decimal expansion which is non-terminating repeating. You can understand it better by an example. A P by Q form is given 64 upon 455. You have to find the prime factorization of the denominator 455, that is 5 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 13. Here Q 455 can be written as a product of primes, but it is not of the form 2 raised to n 5 raised to m. So the rational number 64 upon 455 has a non-terminating repeating decimal expansion. Exercise 1.4, question number 1. Without actually performing the long division, state whether the following rational numbers will have a terminating decimal expansion or a non-terminating repeating decimal expansion. We will move to question number 1, that is 13 upon 3125. The given number is a rational number. For seeing whether it is having a terminating or non-terminating decimal, you have to find the prime factors of the denominator. If the denominator is having the prime factors as of the form 2 raised to n, 5 raised to m, then it is a terminating one, otherwise non-terminating. So you can find the factors of 3125, that is you are getting as 5 raised to 5. So you can write it as the form 2 raised to 0 multiplied by 5 raised to 5. 2 raised to 0 means it is 1. If you are multiplying with 1, it didn't make any difference. So Q equal to 2 raised to 0 multiplied by 5 raised to 5, which is of the form 2 raised to n, 5 raised to m, where n equal to 0 and m equal to 5. So the rational number 13 upon 3125 has a terminating decimal expansion. Moving to question number 9, 35 upon 50. So if you are having any common factors in the numerator and denominator, that you have to cancel. So you are getting 5 as a common factor in both 35 and 50. So it is 7 upon 10. The denominator 10 can be written as a product of the primes, that is 2 multiplied by 5. So the denominator Q is 2 multiplied by 5, which is of the form 2 raised to n, 5 raised to m, where n equal to 1, m equal to 1. So the rational number 35 upon 50 has a terminating decimal expansion. Now question number 10, that is 77 upon 210. 77 upon 210, in the numerator and denominator 7 is a common factor. So you can cancel the 7, you will get it as 11 upon 30, and the prime factorization of the denominator 30 can be written as 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5. Now the denominator Q equal to 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5, which is not of the form 2 raised to n, 5 raised to m. So the rational number 77 upon 210 has a non-terminating repeating decimal expansion. Moving to question number 2, write down the decimal expansion of those rational numbers in question number 1 above which have terminating decimal expansion. Question number 1, 13 upon 3125. You have already find out the prime factorization of 3125, that is 5 raised to 5, and you have written in the form 2 raised to n, 5 raised to m. So it becomes 13 upon 2 raised to 0 multiplied by 5 raised to 5. Now you have to convert the P by Q form into decimal form. For converting into decimal form, it is easy to make the denominator as multiples of 10. For that, since here you are having 5 raised to 5, to make the denominator 10, you should have here instead of 2 raised to 0, there should be 2 raised to 5. So you have to multiply in the numerator and denominator by 2 raised to 5. So the numerator become 13 multiplied by 2 raised to 5 upon 2 raised to 5 multiplied by 5 raised to 5. That is 13 multiplied by 32. Here you are using loss of exponents in the denominator, that is x raised to m multiplied by y raised to m. You can write it as xy whole raised to m. The same way 2 raised to 5 multiplied by 5 raised to 5 can be written as 2 multiplied by 5 whole raised to 5. That is 416 upon 10 raised to 5. Since the power of 10 is 5, the decimal expansion will have 5 decimal place. Moving to question number 4, 15 upon 1600. Same way you have to factorize the denominator, that is 15 upon 2 raised to 6 multiplied by 5 raised to 2. To make the denominator as multiples of 10. Here 2 is having the highest power, that is 6. So you have to get the power of 5 as 6. So you have to multiply it by 5 raised to 4. So you have to multiply in the numerator and denominator by 5 raised to 4. That is 15 multiplied by 625 upon 2 multiplied by 5 whole raised to 6. That is 9375 upon 10 raised to 6. Since the power of 10 is 6, the decimal expansion will have 6 decimal places. Therefore, the decimal expansion is 0.009375. Question number 8. 6 upon 15. You can cut down the common factor, that is 2 upon 5. You have to make the denominator of the given p by q form as 10. For that you have to multiply in the numerator and denominator by 2. So you are getting 2 multiplied by 2 upon 5 multiplied by 2, that is 4 upon 10, that is 0.4. Question number 9. 35 upon 50. 5 is common factor in both. So you are having 7 upon 10. Then that is 0.7. Question number 3. The following real numbers have decimal expansion as given below. In each case, decide whether they are rational or not. If they are rational and of the form p upon q, what can you say about the prime factors of q? In that question number 1, 43.12345678 Since the decimal expansion terminates, so the given real number is rational and therefore of the form p upon q. Now you have to write the p by q form, that is equal to 43.12345678. That means you are having 9 decimal place. So you have to multiply and divide by 10 raised to 9. Now the number 10 can be written as 2 multiplied by 5 whole raised to 9. So the numerator is 43.12345678 upon 2 raised to 9 multiplied by 5 raised to 9. Here the numerator p equal to 43.12345678 and q equal to 2 raised to 9 multiplied by 5 raised to 9. Now question number 2, it is given a decimal expansion, that is 0.12012001200 etc. Since the decimal expansion is neither terminating nor non-terminating repeating, the given real number is not a rational number. Moving to question number 3, 43 point bar 123456789. Since the decimal expansion is non-terminating and repeating, therefore the given number is a rational number of the form p upon q, but the denominator q will have factors other than 2 or 5. Now moving to extra questions. In that, question number 1, if the HCF of 85 and 153 is expressible in the form 85n minus 153, then find the value of n. Here it is given HCF of 85 and 153 can be expressed as 85n minus 153. So first we have to find the HCF of 85 and 153. You can use prime factorization method or Euclid's division algorithm to get the HCF. Here I am using prime factorization method. So 85 can be written as the product of primes 5 multiplied by 17. 153 can be written as 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 17. Therefore, HCF of 85 and 153, that is 17. Now, according to the question, 85 and minus 153 equal to HCF of 85 and 153. So, you got the HCF as 17. So, substitute in the equation, you will get 85 n minus 153 equal to 17. 85 n equal to 17 plus 153, that is 170. Therefore, n equal to 170 upon 85, that is n equal to 2. Question number 2. Let D be the HCF of 24 and 36. Find two numbers A and B such that D equal to 24A plus 36B. Now it is given D equal to HCF of 24 and 36. That is, you have to find the HCF of 24 and 36. For that, you can use prime factorization method or Euclid's division algorithm. I am using prime factorization method. 24 can be written as a product of primes, that is 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3. And 36 can be written as 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. Now you have to find HCF of 24 and 36. That is the factors which are coming in common. That is 2 is coming common. One more time 2 and one more time 3. So you are getting the HCF as 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3, that is 12. Now in the second part of the question it is given, find two numbers A and B such that D equal to 24A plus 36B. So next condition is given, D equal to 24A plus 36B. But we have already find out D as 12. So substitute D as 12, you will get 12 equal to 24A plus 36B. It is a linear equation in two variables. Variables are A and B. So you have to find the values of A and B such that it will satisfy the equation. For that you have to take values for A and B. Looking into the number, we can see that the difference between 36 and 24 is 12. So for that you are taking A as minus 1. So 24 multiplied by minus 1 plus B as plus 1. 36 multiplied by 1. That is 24 multiplied by minus 1. That is minus 24 plus 36 multiplied by 1. That is 36. That is equal to 12. So you have got LHS equal to RHS. For the equation you are getting LHS equal to RHS. Therefore the values that we have taken is correct. So A equal to minus 1 and B equal to plus 1. So the values of A and B are minus 1 and plus 1. Moving to homework, the questions that we have discussed in the class, that you have to write it in your notebook. Along with that, you do it as homework, exercise 1.3 and 1.4 the questions that are given here in your notebook. In extra questions, 3 questions are given. In the first question, it is find the HCF of 120, 504 and 882. The method is not mentioned. You can do it by prime factorization method or by Euclid's division algorithm. If you are using Euclid's division algorithm, first you have to find the HCF of, for example, the first two numbers. Find the HCF of first two numbers. You will get one value. Then that value and the third number, its HCF. That will be the HCF of these three numbers. Please try to do it by yourself and prepare for the test coming at the end of July. Thank you.